We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Here comes a question for Rob. Michael. I should just let you read it, and I'll go take a break. Michael has an NVIDIA Shield cable box and an HDPC all connected to his Denon AVR-1912. That's an older one, isn't it? Yeah,
A little bit. Yeah.
The Denon feeds his TV via HDMI, and before we mention it, he has turned HDMI CC off. Uh-oh. That doesn't bode well. When he turns everything on, his TV comes on, but just shows a blank screen. He gets sound from the cable box and HDPC, but no picture, and the NVIDIA Shield sleeps. So when he wakes it up, sometimes it works right away, and sometimes it's the same situation, audio but no video. If he cycles through all the inputs on the TV and receiver, sometimes that gets video working, but sometimes you have to power cycle everything again. So that's obviously a hassle.
Yeah.
So do we have any ideas? I have one question. Did you turn off HDMI CC on everything, or just the NVIDIA Shield? Because if you have to turn it off and everything, you haven't really turned it off. You've just disabled it from certain places.
Still doesn't totally explain this.
Doesn't explain this. Yes, I
Now,
agree.
Michael, I'm going to do the pedantic thing, because if we don't, and this ends up being the solution, then you'll be like, well, why didn't you say that? I'm going to assume that you've plugged all of your sources via HDMI into your Denon, and then you're running one HDMI cable from the Denon to your TV. So the TV's input should never have to change. It just stays on the one HDMI input. And to choose your different sources, you're doing so on the Denon. That's my assumption. But
That's what I would assume as well.
It's not necessarily the case. Sometimes people have connected things in a different method other than that.
Well, he says he's just feeds his TV via HDMI. So I mean, how else could he do it?
Well, I mean, perhaps one of these sources went HDMI to the TV, and then a separate audio connection to the Denon or something along those lines. Because when you're saying audio is working but not video, if you are using a separate audio connection for something, that could explain it, right? I'm just trying to cover all the basic. Like, this
he
is
could
the whole
also have
check your
other
speaker wire thing that we say, right? It's like
Yeah.
the most pedantic of answers, but
he could also have other sources that are plugged directly to the TV that aren't this
aren't the Denon.
receiver. Which would, if you have like an auto thing on your, like a lot of TVs do, they will switch to whatever input they sense, and then stay there.
Because what he described, the audio always works.
Which means the Denon's not the problem. Yeah.
It seems as though the signal is getting from his sources to the Denon, because the audio always works. It's something in the video. So let's assume all the sources are plugged into the Denon with HDMI. The HDMI is running one cable from its output to the TV. So the TV should always be staying on the same input. Gosh, is there any reason why switching among the sources on the Denon wouldn't output the video to the television? I can't think of a reason why that would happen.
This one's got me completely, I gotta be honest with you, this one's got me completely stumped.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this, and I'm like, what is causing, because you know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like an HDMI switch issue. Like, if he told me he had a switch in between his Denon and his receiver, right? I was a Denon and his TV, then, like, if you have a source, and some sources are like this, where it's always showing as on. And then a lot of switches, they prioritize input. So input 1, if there's something that's playing, it goes to input 1. And then if there's nothing playing at input 1, it looks at 2. If there's something playing at 2, it shows whatever that is. If there's nothing playing at 2 or 1, it goes to 3 and keeps going down. What it sounds like is the TV, for whatever reason, is selecting a video input that's not HDMI 1 or whatever the HDMI input that is coming in here.
Like, maybe it just defaults to the antenna input every time it turns on or something, because some TVs did that.
Yeah, so to me it sounds like the problem here is in the TV, and in it TV switching inputs for some reason, and I have no clue as to why that would be.
There's one other thought that I have, which is that I know his TV is a little bit older, I don't know if it accepts all signals or how it handles switching between different resolutions, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, is there a chance that you could... So your sources stay the same, they output whatever, but you actually make use of the video processing that's in the Denon to make sure that everything is always being sent out of the Denon at the same resolution. That
that
isn't
could be it too.
Switching a resolution, because let's say the NVIDIA Shield's always outputting 1080p, but the cable box is outputting 720p or 1080i, and for some reason that confuses the TV. It's a bit of grasping at straws. But...
an order issue here too. If the TV is going on last, and the Denon and the source are agreeing, okay, 4K, we're all good, right? And then the TV pops on, is like, I can't do 4K, and it's done. Yeah. Or maybe the like you said, the TV is 1080i. It's Denon. Like, can you make sure the TV, like if you have a Harmony, you can say turn the TV on and wait. Wait 5 seconds before you turn anything else on. That would be another possible solution. And you're right. Grasping at straws is what we're doing here. Yes.
Yeah. But that's our ideas for now, Michael.
Could there be a problem, he asks, with the HDMI board in his Denon? He kind of wants a new receiver anyways, but there's a budget. It definitely isn't worth the cost of shipping it out for repair, so do we think it's a defect in the Denon? I kind of don't. I don't, but I'm like 70% on that, maybe.
Given that the audio always works.
But it's possible that there's something wrong with the video. It's possible.
The video processing chip is the one that seems to always generate all the heat.
If you do this, buy something local that you can return, because if you do this, it turns out that it's not it. You're going to be super irritated with us. I would. This is one of those times. I
suspect it's not that.
I don't think it's that either. But if you do it, make sure you know your return policy, like straight up, because you need to be able to return this thing. So he asks if he does replace his Denon, what would be a good, fairly inexpensive choice, keeping in mind that he's in Canada. He doesn't need Atmos, but he does want 7 amps and the ability to reassign the surround back outputs to zone 2. This is not my area of expertise because I do not live in Canada.
Now, I'm still going to recommend a Denon, and I'm going to recommend... in Canada, going to Gibby's, since they have a very close relationship with Denon, and much like Accessories for Less in the States, they get, what would you call it? Well, B stock, right? But directly from Denon. It's not just their own returns. So they're getting the factory refurbished stuff directly from Denon. They're a retailer that does that within Canada, so you can get good prices on Denon receivers in Canada from Gibby's. Now, to get everything that you need for about the lowest price that you can. Now, you could go down to the S-Series models, but if you can afford an X-Series model, I really prefer that, because then you get Odyssey Multi-Q XT instead of just the very most basic version of Odyssey, which is what you get in the S-Series models. So the X3300 is $500 for the B-Stock model right now, $500 Canadian. And that does everything that you requested. It can reassign the surround backs to Zone 2. It has 5 HDMI 2.0A with HDCP 2.2 inputs, 1 output, but that's everything you need. Now, if you could spend as much as $800 Canadian, which is probably more than you wanted to, but if you could, the X3300W is available from Gibby's, B stock, directly from Denon for $800 Canadian. That gets you Odyssey Multi-EQ XT32. So that gets you the highest level of Odyssey. It's the least expensive way to get the highest level of Odyssey, so I'll just mention that it's out there. There is, of course, the X2300W in between that gives you more HDMI inputs. It gives you a little bit more amplifier power, which you don't really need. Gives you component video switching, which the X1300 doesn't have, but I don't think you need that. So,
I hope not.
Yeah, I'd kind of go one or the other, low or high.
It's probably not the receiver, though, dude.
I know.
I know. It really is.
I wonder if the problem is sabotage. I just really want an excuse to buy a new receiver.
If I could stump these guys, stump the chumps over here, we'll... All right. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.